I get it when you're staring at a wall of blank screens and trying to picture where every camera will end up. The idea of spending a few thousand on a full-blown surveillance kit feels both exciting and terrifying. You want that crystal clear 4K footage, you want it to work at night, and you definitely don't want to end up with a system that takes 3 weeks to get online just because the menu is a maze. I was in that exact spot last month, helping a friend who just bought a new house and wanted to lock down the whole property before his kids moved in. He was juggling a budget, a bunch of online reviews that all sounded the same, and a fear of ending up with a set-and-forget nightmare that would need a tech-savvy friend to keep it running. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Lorex NC4K8 3232BB is basically a honest-op shop, a 32-channel 4K NVR with an 8TB Fusion drive, a 16-port PO switch, and 32 8-megapixel bullet cameras. On paper it sounds like the perfect solution for a large house, a small office, or anyone who wants a cover-everything setup without having to buy each piece separately. The promise is simple: plug the PO switch into your router, attach the cameras, let the NVR do its thing, and you've got 4K footage stored locally for years. That's a huge draw for anyone who's ever been frustrated by cloud-based services that charge per gigabyte or per month. But that promise comes with a few practical realities you need to run through before you hand over your credit card. First off, the sheer size of the system means you're dealing with a lot of hardware. 32 bullet cameras aren't a light load on a roof or a wall. You need solid mounting points, weatherproofing, and a decent amount of cabling. If you're a DI enthusiast who already has conduit in place, the PO switch does simplify wiring one Ethernet run per camera that feeds both power and data. However, for most homeowners, the installation can quickly turn into a weekend project that involves drilling, sealing, and possibly hiring an electrician to keep everything up to code. In my experience, that's the first hidden cost most people overlook. The 4K resolution is where the system really tries to differentiate itself. Those 8-megapixel sensors can capture enough detail to read a license plate from a driveway or see a face clearly from the front porch. In daylight, the images are razor-sharp, and the wide-angle lenses give you a broad field of view so you don't need as many cameras to cover a space. The downside shows up at night. Lorex's cameras use infrared LEDs for low light, which is fairly standard, but the 4K sensor can actually struggle with the limited IR range. You'll end up with a grainy, monochrome picture beyond 30 feet, which might be fine for checking if someone's at the gate but not ideal if you want to identify a person walking across the back lawn. If you need reliable night vision for a perimeter that stretches a long way, you might have to supplement with additional dedicated night-vision cameras. Storage is another area where reality bites. The NVR's 8TB drive sounds generous until you factor in the bitrate of 4K footage from 32 cameras. Even with aggressive compression, you'll fill that drive in a matter of weeks if you're recording continuously. Lorex does let you set motion-triggered recording, which can extend the storage life dramatically, but you then have to fine-tune motion zones for each camera, a time-consuming process that can be frustrating if you're not comfortable navigating the NVR's menu system. The interface itself is fairly typical for a security system, a web-based dashboard and a mobile app, both of which have a lot of options buried under submenus. New users often report menu friction, meaning you have to click through several layers before you find the setting you actually need, like adjusting motion sensitivity or setting up alerts. Now, who actually benefits from a system this massive? If you run a small business with a storefront, a warehouse, or multiple entry points, the ability to monitor every angle in 4K can be a genuine security advantage. The built-in NVR gives you local storage, meaning you aren't dependent on an internet connection to retrieve footage after an incident. For a large property, think a 5-acre farm, a multi-unit rental building, or a home with a sprawling backyard. The 32 camera count means you can cover the perimeter, driveway, garage, and interior without having to buy separate kits later on. Those are the people who will actually get their money's worth. Conversely, the average homeowner who just wants to keep an eye on the front door and maybe the driveway is better off with a smaller, more focused system, say, a 4-camera 1080p kit with cloud backup. The Lorex bundle is overkill for that scenario, and the complexity of managing 32 cameras can become a source of stress rather than peace of mind. If you're renting, the need to drill holes and run cables can also be a deal breaker. And if you're not comfortable spending a few